Alrighty. Okay. Oh, that's weird. Okay. Says it's on. Now, let's check. Let's make sure. It's gonna go. Why is there dust all over my phone? I use it all the time. There shouldn't be dust all over my phone. Do 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 do. Do 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 do. Huh. That's weird. Let me check on here. Is anything? Okay, so it says live there. Again, we're doing another test. I'll explain in a second. Let me make sure everything's good here. I don't know. Not seeing anything. Not seeing any. Let's go here, I guess. There we go. Okay. So I can see it there. What's up? Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and mute that because I don't need to listen to myself as like a voice jammer. Okay. All right. So we're live. I'm gonna keep looking at this because I want to make sure that I'm still live. So we're doing another test, but at the same time, I want to update you guys on a lot of things, a lot of content. Mostly because... No, don't do that. What? Oh, okay. No, don't do that. Sorry, I just shrank it. I don't want to shrink it. Go back. There we go. Because I want to see the comments. I just don't want to see my face. I just don't want to see my face. Is there a way of doing this without seeing my face? There was. Whatever. Who cares? Sure. Okay. So, not that long ago, says I'm by myself. What? Hey, what's up? Love your videos. Cool. Says I'm by myself. As in the only... Well, you might be the only one watching right now. I mean, it just went up. Oh, there's 3 people watching. There's 3 people watching. One of them might be me. Don't, let's just exclude one of those. One of those might be me. But anyway, okay. So, as you can tell, it wasn't I don't think there was a single video that went up this week. And I wanted to talk to you guys about what's happened, what's changed in my life, what's going on, what to expect, all this kind of stuff. And at the same time, possibly do some live, unedited videos, the kind of videos that I would normally post. So, first out of the gate, sorry if you guys were expecting a video on Tuesday and Thursday and earlier today, because this is now going up at 2 p.m. instead of 10 a.m., which is advertised. So, about 10 videos. I had 10 videos that I had either recorded a long time ago or just recently recorded or tried recording or tried editing that didn't work, didn't turn out well, or were corrupted files. And so I had nothing to go up. And then this week was incredibly busy. For those of you who don't know, I have a client, a huge, wonderful client overseas that requests me to do a lot of voiceover for a lot of different characters for a project. It's a client in Singapore. And they have, their animation and production studio and production house, and they come to me for a lot of voices. Well, a lot of voices now. Originally, I was only contracted to do 2 characters. And so the workload was relatively light. There'd be like maybe 3 scripts a week. 1 for one character and then 2 for one of the other characters. Or for the other character. And so that was my typical lineup with them. And then, on the side, I would do occasional, Fiverr stuff, and then some auditioning and stuff like that. And then the rest of the time I'd be dedicated to small side projects and then YouTube. But what ended up happening is that the client this week basically asked me to take on 7 more additional characters, as well as potentially taking on some characters from another show that they're also working on. And so this all happened basically at the beginning of this week. well, it was kind of like late last week and then kind of like really like built up at the beginning of this week. And so I was unprepared for as many samples and auditions that they were requesting for various different characters, as well as extra scripts that they needed recording. I was also up late. I was recording till 4:30 a.m. last night, which is normally pretty common for my work day. I normally am up pretty early in the morning, mostly because everyone in my neighborhood, everyone outside, everyone upstairs is pretty much up until about like 1 o'clock, and then it basically goes quiet. So normally between 2 o'clock to 1 a.m., sometimes smaller window, it's hit or miss as far as like when I have the most quiet time. But so normally like my work schedule is pretty weird. It's pretty off and on. It's pretty sporadic. But due to the fact that I had a lot more work to do from this particular client as well as others, and I needed to get them done, I didn't have as large a window to do recording for videos, the past couple weeks as I would have hoped. And so, I was thinking maybe I could just do backlog videos. Some of those backlog videos were no good, were corrupted files, out of focus, varying different technical problems. I just didn't check them when I recorded them. And then I tried to record some new stuff. One of the videos that I was going to do was actually something that someone was talking about. They wanted me to do a video talking about Twisted Wave, which is a iOS. I think it's an iOS exclusive app. Not positive, but it's an iOS app for doing voiceover. And so I was doing a tutorial on that, but the video file was corrupted for some weird reason. The audio of what I recorded while I was using it was out of sync with the video. And when I tried editing it and moving it down, the video file was corrupted as well. So it had like these artifacting. So it was just not usable. And every time I tried actually doing just some phone vlogs, but for some weird reason, the video was flipped upside down. And I would have to take it into the editor and flip it back around. But for some reason, every time I try editing video from my phone nowadays, after it's been shot, it has these weird glitches in the video. So again, I don't know what happened. I don't know what's going on. So that's kind of the story to that. But moving forward, what to expect in the coming weeks is that I might only be posting a video on Saturday until further notice. One of the reasons is obviously because I have more work coming from the clients overseas, and until I get a comfortable rhythm, until I know what to expect, I'm not going to have as much time as I would have wanted or would have hoped. Number 2, there's been a lot of things that I've had to put off and a lot of things that I've had to kind of put on the back burner because of having to tackle doing voiceover and making videos. And I have like 3 or 4 channels that I'm trying to keep going. I mean, obviously this channel, main channel, which is mostly a vlog channel, but I'm trying to answer questions and I'm trying to add more relatable, more high-quality content. But then there's also the gaming channel, and that's long-form edits, and those take a long time to render and a long time to edit. And that's been kind of put on the back burner. I have about, I want to say 50 videos waiting to be uploaded, maybe, or waiting to be finished editing. But that's off on the back burner. But there's a lot of stuff that I've had to put off that are more personal. Obviously, one of them is my health and fitness. I'm not spending nearly enough time on that, especially not on the dietitian side. and it is affecting my energy. It is affecting my stamina, and I really need to get that under control. Number four, next point, whatever. I need to move up as far as like my agency. So I actually finished putting together a agency packet, a kind of agency goes on a disk. It's what you make to send out to clients. Basically, it's a zip folder, and I either put it on an actual disk, depending on the agency or the manager or the agent, depending on what they prefer, or I will just send all of that as a zip file through email. And I need to get back into trying to find new agents, which I was going to do a video on, but I don't want to like just record a video like if I'm giving bad information. So I'll probably just if I'm successful, then I'll share that information because I don't want to waste y'all's time. The next thing was I was working on a Udemy course for character voice acting and for getting into the industry and for like a setup and for making money in the different websites. Half of the stuff that I was going to be talking about is actually stuff that I've talked about on this website on YouTube. And the other half were going to be far more detailed, and some of them were going to be like worksheets and stuff like that. And that takes a lot of time, especially to write out. And I haven't really been able to move forward on that. The next things that I've had to put on the back burner have been things like different projects that I've wanted to work on that I haven't been able to work on. One of them was a short film from almost 2.5 years ago that I haven't finished editing, that I can technically edit, but it's so time consuming and it gives me a headache. It gives me a migraine, but I need to like sit down and do it. It'll probably take a total of 100 hours in total to actually finish or to actually do. But I need to finish that. It's on my list. There's also, I have probably about, hey, how's it going? I don't know why I'm waving over there. I should be waving this way. There's probably about 20 or 30 scripts that I have written and finished that I haven't sent to anybody, I haven't shot, I haven't recorded, I haven't done anything with. And these are old. These are really old projects. Some of them I intended to write for other people, and I was going to just give them to them, but I've never like finished and I've never sent them to the people. And then others have been ones that I was going to do, but I don't have the utilities, I don't have the time, I don't have the resources to actually give them the proper, respect that the project deserves, as far as like animation and stuff like that. So I need to just hand those to people. I need to find the right people. Hey, if you want this, this is yours. I just need to get these off my list because I'm 30, and the past year, this year, which has only been like 7 months, so like about half a year, has been kind of, I don't want to say depressing, because I'm not depressed. And it's not like a midlife crisis or anything, but it's just kind of this realization that everything that was on my 10-year goal list, because you're supposed to have like a 1-year, 5-year, and 10-year goal list. And everything on my 10-year list has basically not happened. Except for like maybe having a recording studio or a production studio. I kind of have that. I kind of have a studio that I can produce, edit, make stuff with. The problem is that though I have tons of gear, like you can see my entire gear wall, which has cameras, lights, and stuff like that. I have a whole wall over here for poles and tripods and microphones and cables, lights. I have, light setups. I have a wonderful recording studio. I have green screen, black screen, stands. I have a portable green screen. I have camera, all this kind of stuff that I've basically done nothing with. And I need to actually do something with this stuff. I also have a recording studio that I've only ever recorded 2 other people in. and that was both for a project that I was involved in. I was actually acting in, and we needed to get like not really ADR, but voiceover for the project that I told them just come over to my place and we'll record it here. So we recorded that there, and so I haven't really done anything with it. It's not really. It's a studio, but it's not really the production house or the production studio that my 10-year goal was. And so that's been kind of weighing down on me. I mean, I get to do voiceover full time, but it's really, really rough. I've gotten into acting, but I do maybe one thing a year. I do voiceover, but nobody knows me from any of it. That kind of stuff. These are 10-year goals, but none of them really seem to be what the 10-year goal was. The 1 to 5 year goal, I meet pretty much every single time. There are always little things. And, that keeps you from, losing your mind or being too depressed. The problem is that all the 10-year stuff have been, basically put off to the side. And they're kind of the things that are preventing me from really moving forward. Now, not all the stuff from like 5 or 1 year stuff have been achieved. I mean, learning piano, learning guitar, learning Spanish and sign language have been on my 1 to 5 year list every single year, and I haven't done anything with them. Haven't achieved anything with those. So those were always, always there and always looming, as well as like getting back into shape. That's been on like the last year or 2 years. But so there's been a lot of stuff that I've had to put off the side, and really kind of wait and really kind of figure out what am I gonna do. So that's the stuff that I'm probably going to be focusing a little bit more on until further notice, until I get like a comfortable swing of things. Also, I don't have like an assistant. There's no one else helping me. But that is not the only point of this video. I'm actually going to be talking about some of the things that I was going to be talking about this week, but I'm just going to be doing it live. No editing. Just live to make sure that I get out. Also, this is a test of the live stream. If you guys didn't know that the past, what has it been? I want to say past 10 times I've tried to do a live stream, there's always been issues. We did fix it, though. We actually found out what the problem was with the live stream. Let me just make sure that I'm still getting audio. Yeah, still getting audio. Cool. Just making sure. That was one of the problems from the last time. And there was actually an internet problem. We actually fixed that. Apparently, this apartment had some really rotten, destroyed cables. And so there was just kinks in it, and all the storms just made it worse. We finally got that fixed. So it looks like, I don't know how long I've been recording or how long this has been going on. 18 minutes. Okay, so I think the longest I've ever done a live stream was 25 minutes. I think. No. I think I have done 2 hours, but it kept cutting in and out, and there was audio problems. But if this is working out, then it's probably going to be a little bit more common thing. Let's get to these comments before I go into the answering questions or doing, what I actually set out to do. Okay, so South Coast Detecting, I guess. South Coast Detecting. I've been lucky. I've had an earning target reach. Oh, each year. Okay. That I've hit. Oh, good for you. And I have types of projects I'd like to try and record that I've done. I don't do it to be rich. Good. Never get into voiceover or anything to get rich. If you do make money, if you do make a profit, that's good, but don't go into anything expecting it. Do it because you like it. I do it because I enjoy it. See, there you go. I recommended VO to anybody. Okay, good. It's good to know that you're not doing this, for profit. I mean, I don't do it for profit. I mean, obviously, I am dying. That did remind me, before I get into this, there was actually a couple other things that I was actually trying to finish, but I never finished, and they were actually some books that I had actually started writing. One of them is actually a kid's book, kind of. It's kind of a goofy, silly, stupid kid's book, which is basically written, it just needs the illustrations. So I have, my older brother is an amazing artist, and I'm trying to get him to do the illustration because I know his art is better than mine, but if he doesn't, then I'll tackle it. It's just going to take me time. Again, something's going to take me time. And then, creating the book format or formatting it properly. It's just first book. And then there was another one which was a short story. It's like I want to say it's like a 30,000 word short story, something like that. I might have it on here. That I was going to finish editing because I want to rewrite it, add some elements to it, maybe bump it up a little bit longer, and then do the voiceover for it, the audiobook of it, and then post that online. And it's something that I actually worked on probably about 6 years ago, maybe. And I really need to finish it. It's one of those things that I really need to finish. And just start getting stuff out of my way. Because otherwise I'm going to accumulate things, and it's just going to weigh me down as I get older. Okay, so let's see. What can we get off here? Voiceover resume. I'll tackle that one later. So what I'm looking at here is actually a list. I can't share this with you guys right now, can I? No, I can't. Oh. Can I? What's this? Can I share it? I can't. I can't share this. Nah. Anyway, okay. So let's see. Let's go back up. Now a lot of these are questions that people asked. So, how to audition for voiceover? Did I already tackle that? I don't know if I tackled that. I know I did. Okay. Yeah, I think I already tackled that one. I think I already got that one. If not, correct me in the comments, and then we'll actually talk about it. How to yell? Or did that one? Oh, I think that's. Yeah, I think that's the list of stuff that we're done. All right, let's do this one. How to plan out a voiceover demo. I don't think I've ever talked about that one. I've covered similar topics, but let's just talk about that one. So how to plan out your voiceover demo. Okay, so I did a video not that long ago talking where I actually showed editing and producing, a voiceover demo. But I've never really talked about like writing the dialogue or writing the characters and stuff like that. So this is basically my process of coming up with a character, or not really a character, but coming up with the character, but the voice that you're going to do in the demo. It's easier as you go on. It's easier as you've been doing work. As you do more and more projects, you'll actually develop more and more voices, more and more characters, and you'll get things that are like favorites. So I have a couple favorites, and one of them I actually finally got to do, and it's actually with the Singapore client. And just because it's one of my favorite voices, and it's actually going to be the next voice that I'm actually going to put in my next character or animation demo. And it's this kind of sweet old like anime granny. It's just kind of like this sweet old lady, yes. And it's one of my favorite voices because it's so easy and so comfortable, and it's very funny. Like if you say, certain things, like if she was gonna like beat someone's ass, she was going to like whoop up on them. It's hilarious in that voice. So it's one of my favorite characters. So I would think of that character. Okay, so I got that voice in my head. Think of that voice. What I want to portray. What do I want to create? What story, what very, very short story do I want to create for this character? So, due to the fact that, I like animation and character demos to have a lot of variety, I would want this one to be very funny. So, I would actually have her doing some kind of fighting, somebody. So, what would I want to do? What's something common that, probably happens to an old lady or would be funny to do, like, real quick, because you want it to be a very quick scenario so it's easy to understand. So it would be, so the one that I have planned is, her being mugged in an alley. So her being mugged in an alley, so you got this kind of like bruiser guy, like, give me your wallet, like that kind of voice or that kind of character. And, so instead of her giving up, she basically, like, she's like, come and get it. And then there's just like a quick fight sound. He gets all beat up. And she's like, that's what you get for coming at me sideways. That kind of stuff. So something very funny and very unique and something that's, doesn't need a lot of explanation. So it'd be really, really quick. Your goal is like between like, some people say between 5 and 15 seconds for, each segment of a character demo, but 5 seconds is like really, really fast. I can't visualize how to do 5 seconds. So I shoot for like 10. 10 gives me about 6 characters, or, it gives me 6 scenarios. And normally in each scenario, I have like an average of 1 to 3 voices. So like 2 voices per thing. So it's probably about 12 voices that I do, 12 characters that I do in each demo. So I'm still adding to it, giving it a nice variety. And it also gives me, the ability to like really flesh out the voice and the character in each segment. So that's what I'm planning to do. So then I would go, okay, so I got these 2 characters. This is the scenario. This is the scene. So you basically write it like a screenplay, like a script. And I would actually show you, but I can't screen share right now, which is driving me crazy. So you'd actually write, okay, so this is the old lady. So who's going to talk first? And so since we have to set up the scenario, it would have to be the guy mugging, because he's setting up the scenario. So I'd have the mugger, I'd have him say his line. So, he's addressing her. What's something typical that he would say that's not too cliche, but hey Granny, give me your wallet, or give me your purse, not your wallet. Give me your purse. And then, her line, so she's immediately after, her line would be, something along the lines of come and get it, or something standoffish, but with a little bit more, you don't want none of this. Something that really gives something for her to say. And then just a few seconds of him getting beat up, and then immediately his like whatever noise he's going to make, and then her line, which would be like, come at me sideways. So I'd type all of that out, and I would visualize the scene. And then again, when it comes into actually producing or editing the segment, I basically edit the same way I would a film or an animation. I visualize it, where are the characters, how far away are they, what's the scene look like, is it dark, is it night, are there cars passing by, is it, where in the city is there music playing in the background, is it raining, all this kind of stuff. So I actually visualize all that, and I will actually type out a little kind of descriptor of the scene and what kind of like possible noises would be going on there, and then maybe like a quick description of the music that I would put in the background if I'm putting any music. I'd type that out so that I'll know what to look for, what to search, and what mood. And then I would go in, I would record those lines, and I'd normally record more than I actually need and a lot of alternates, just in case. And then I would record some faster deliveries and some slower deliveries, just in case. And then I would go in, I would clean it up, I'd do all the compression and EQ, and then I will cut those into segments, bring it into Sony Vegas, cut that up, line it up, and then start adding the sound effects, and the rest is in the video. So that's basically how I would write each segment. And for the most part, the way I do it is I actually tackle them one at a time. I don't write the entire character demo because I'm not writing a demo, I'm writing each section. And then each section is just being overlapped and then just edited too. I'm not thinking of the next segment of the demo while I'm recording or editing one. So that's how I'd write it. All right. Comments. I know you promote Fiverr to newbies. Don't forget 5Squid. 5Squid, it's the UK site. Will get you a better dollar conversion rate. Okay, so here's my experience with 5Squid thus far. So I started a 5Squid account. I'm not going to do a video on it because I don't have enough experience to really give a full opinion. But here's kind of my quick opinion. It clearly isn't. It's clearly not being as advertised on their end as much as Fiverr is. I think Fiverr was really the first of these websites. I might be wrong. Technically the first of these websites would probably be, Craigslist. But, Fiverr was really like the first of that kind of genre. And then, years later, obviously they've grown tremendously. They've become this huge thing. And so now they kind of dominate the market. So anyone else coming in, I don't know how long 5Squid's been around, but anyone else coming in is pretty much going to get overshadowed. Same thing with like YouTube. YouTube is obviously the dominant video platform, despite how many other people are trying to like really get in there. It's just going to be harder for them to like get noticed. So I have a pretty basic service, voiceover service on 5Squid. It doesn't look as easy to upload a project or a service on 5Squid as it does Fiverr. Fiverr literally has like step-by-step, check the box, fill in the blank. This is what goes here, this is what goes there. 5Squid seems to be a little bit more of, here's the video, here's the price, here's your description. So you got to like, from what I remember. So this would be like, hey, here's all your, you basically type in what you're offering all up in 5Squid. And I don't think they give you as many characters as Fiverr does. So thus far, I'm not as much of a fan of 5Squid as I am of Fiverr. But that's just because I haven't gotten anything. I haven't really worked on it yet. I haven't really had the time. So my opinion is not really solid. It's just kind of like, that's just kind of my general thing. I suggest that if you're on Fiverr, go ahead and be on 5Squid as well, even though Fiverr obviously has a problem with you being on other services. Excuse me. But, you need to branch out. You need to like post yourself on as many platforms as possible. All right. All right. Let's see. Steve Maxwell. Hey, Steve Maxwell from the UK. Why that accent? Hi, Tim. Fiverr's new gaming category. What? They have a gaming category? Do you think this will help your gaming gigs? I'll have to look that up. Not quite sure I know what you're talking about. I didn't know they had it like a. Again, I'm not quite sure what the question is. I'll have to look that up. And then I'll do a video on it. There is something tickling my face. It's like a loose hair. I don't know what it is. It's either that or there's like a gnat just going underneath my lip. Or above my lip. Or whatever. Underneath my nose. Whatever. Okay. So, let's see what else in this we can tackle. Let's see. How long have we been going? Boop. We're past the 25-minute mark, so everything's looking good on live streaming. Not bad. See, the voiceover resume thing, I would like to show you my old voiceover resumes, if I still had them. I don't think I do. Let me see. I might have something. This is just a big binder of crap. Is there anything in here? No, there's nothing in there. No. I can tell you what not to do, for sure. So, I think my first resume that I ever made, that I ever sent to agents, was probably the perfect example of what not to do. So, it was 3 pages, which is 4 pages too many. No. It's 2 pages too many. Forgot what number I said. And it was colorful. It had my headshot, and it had a fancy logo, and it had all kinds of stuff you don't need. And it was like a crazy font, and it was, I tried to like spruce it up, make it basically look like some kind of like promotional flyer. It was trash. It was absolute garbage. And it basically so there was one agency that I actually sat in the office. One agent actually sat in the office who actually held one of these. And from their response, from their, just from their reaction, that basically told me that was the worst thing that I had ever made. I, sat in, they opened it up, and they were like, no, just everything, no. They were like mad at me. And I was, I don't remember how old I was. I think I was like, 22? I think I was 22 when I did that. It was awful. I burned it. And it also had like all this kind of like irrelevant information down at the bottom. It just needs to be neat, clean, and just precise. I'm pretty sure I've done a video. If I haven't done a video on it, I will do a video on it, and I'll actually show what my resume looks like. But yeah, it's just not that big. Don't make it that big. All right, let's find one more. How to create characters. I don't know if I ever tackled that one. I'm seeing a lot of stuff that I don't know if I've ever tackled. Okay, how to create characters. This is a tough one because it's not, for me, creating a character or a voice is kind of something that just happens. And I'm not saying that like I'm just so good at it, just like they just fall out of me. I'm saying that what a lot of times will happen is that I'll get work from a client. They will send me a description of the character as well as like a sample script, and I'll read it, and then from their description I will create this character. And it'll be like a voice or a mannerism that I'd never really thought of before because it's, I'm seeing from their creation. And then I'll get used to doing that voice, and it'll become part of my repertoire. It'll become part of my voice catalog. And then later on, I'll be able to pull from that, and I'll have the audition or the past work file that I can go and listen to keep that fresh. That's what a lot of the voices that I do, and a lot of the voices that you'll probably do, will come from, especially as you go on, or at least the ones that you're most comfortable with. As far as like what voices to create at first, like let's say you're just getting into voiceover, you've not done any character work, you've not done any acting, and you just have the microphone, you need to you're trying to create a demo, and so you want to create some voices. I would almost say that it's probably the wrong time to do that. A lot of the demos that I hear from people that are character demos, are people's first character demos before they've done character work. A lot of it is, it's either cliched or like, oh, that's just every character voice I've ever heard, or it's an impression that they're trying to do, like a Joker impression, or like a Bane impression, whatever. Or it'll be just all of them will basically sound like the same person. It'll sound like the voice actor. So I would say my suggestion is to have a more authentic character creation strategy is to actually go to websites like, what is it called? Like Casting Call Club, and there's another one. I don't remember what it was called. I have it on here somewhere. Casting Call Club, and there's another one that's very similar. But it's Casting Call Club that is free to create a profile. It's free to audition and all this kind of stuff. And a lot of their projects are basically free or fan-based projects. A lot of those kinds of people that are casting people aren't going to be looking for demos. They're looking for auditions. So what you can actually do is before you even have a demo to post out, you can go and audition for these roles. Go and audition for these characters. Read their descriptions. A lot of times they'll actually have art on the side that you can look at for reference, or they'll give an example, like think of this character as a reference. Go read those, look at those, and then do the audition. As you go on, as you do more and more auditions, and very early on in your voiceover career, especially for character work, you'll be doing tons of auditions. As you go on, as you find voices that you really, really like and were very, very easy for you to do without straining your voice, and you feel like, you could do that a lot, or it's one like, I would love to do that voice in the future, keep that. Remember that one. Take that off to the side. Maybe take that audition, like you didn't get the role, but keep that audition. Put that in a folder, whether on Dropbox or wherever. Put it in as potential, audition samples. You could even use, that clip that you actually auditioned with as part of. Well, that might not be a good idea, because then that might imply that you actually got the role, and if anyone who actually got it listened to that, they might think that it's a little standoffish or a little fake. But maybe just keep the voice. And listen to it as reference. I would say that's probably the easiest way to create new characters. It's going to get easier as it goes on. So the more you do characters, the more you do voices, the more you're going to be able to do them, and the easier it's going to be. So just keep doing it, basically, and just keep auditioning. So yeah, that's what I'd suggest. Okay, so question. Is it important to have a website to promote you? I've booked a few jobs through mine, but most are from other sources. What do you mean most are from other sources? Most are from other than your website? First part of that, I think that's two questions. First part of that, yes, it's good to have a hello, Pat. How are you doing? First, yes, it's good to have a website. I have a website. I don't get too much work off of it, but I think this year I actually did get 2 clients. I actually got, I think I got commercial work, and I think I got 1 character project. I think the commercial project wasn't really a commercial. It was, I think it was like a phone messaging system for a client, and the other one was, I don't remember what the other one was, but yes, I have gotten work off my website. Now, I don't really, it's not really easy to promote yourself through your website because your website is standalone. It's actually easier for you to promote yourself with a YouTube channel. Here's why. Because YouTube is a Google search engine. I mean, Google's also a Google search engine. But if you type in voice actor, voiceover website, voiceover on Google, the first things that people are going to find are going to be search engines. the first things that they're going to find are actually going to be voices.com, Voice123, Fiverr, Badalgo, etc., so forth, voiceover agencies, stuff like that. It's going to be a long time before they actually get down to individual voiceover profile websites. It's going to take a while. So I actually use my voiceover website, my individual personalized voiceover website, as a business card, more or less. I try to make sure that your voiceover website is a very short, very simple, and very precise URL or, link, so that it's easy for you to remember, as well as easy for you to write down and easy to put on a business card or easy to send in an email. So mine is tbvo.net. It's easy for me to write down, it's easy for me to remember, and it's easy to put anywhere. Timothy Banfield, voiceover.net. So it's tbvo.net. It's just 4 letters. Now, it doesn't mean that you have to only use 4 letters, but that's the kind of thing that you want. You don't want to have like this big, long thing because, it might be hard to write. If someone's like, hey, could you just write it down? And you don't got enough room and you got to make another line. It's going to be harder. Also, it's going to be easier to create a email based on that website, which is your goal. So my voiceover email is connected to that website. So it's tim@tbvo.net. That's the email that's attached to that website. So again, I don't use it to promote myself, despite the fact there are a few people who found me through it. I don't know how, and I don't know what platform they use to find me, but there have been some people who found me through my website. So I would say don't use it as like, I have to create this or else I'm not getting work. It's more like it's a hub. It's more like the central area that your YouTube, your email, your demos, your agents, any other, if you're an actor, you'd also have an acting link. If you're doing whatever, you'd have all these links in there. I now have multiple pages. One of them is actually dedicated to voiceover coaching. So if someone goes to the website and they see coaching, they can go to there and there's like a little blurb and an email for coaching and stuff like that. So it's more of a central hub and it's more of a business card rather than like an actual promotional tool. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube are probably more beneficial. Also, they're free. You don't got to have a hosting, website hosting to have the website. But at the same time, I wouldn't say use your Facebook as like your official website, voiceover website. So, then they booked me via email for further work. Oh, is that the rest of it? Let's see. I've been booked a few jobs through mine, but most are from their sources. Still not entirely sure what you're trying to say. I think I get the question. I think I get the comment. But most of my stuff, most of my voiceover actually comes from websites like YouTube and Fiverr. There's actually been quite a few times people will see me through Fiverr, and then they will private email me or message me via Facebook or whatever and say that they want to work with me off of Fiverr for whatever reason. Some people are like, I want to work with you, I think you're talented, but I don't like Fiverr. I don't want to give them any money. And I'm like, that's fine. I don't want to give them any money either. Totally fine with me. And so, I've actually gotten, because again, Fiverr is actually one of the first things that you will actually see when you type in just voiceover on Google. And it's also a voiceover engine on its own. So it's easier to get promoted that way. I'm doing all right. I've been writing for a YouTube web series lately. Oh, cool. What web series? Go ahead and plug it here if you want. Let's see. I'm going to try to get to one more of these video topics, which I will do in-depth versions of. I just wanted to actually put some stuff out there for you guys, being the fact that I haven't been up to date this month. This entire month. So I did that. think most of these I've covered. I think most of those I've covered. Not seeing anything else. Question. Okay, I think one of the other video topics was what is voice matching and what is ADR, which is kind of a voiceover related question. It depends on what you mean by it. Oh, got another comment. Get to that in a second. Hi Tim, voice guy. Hi Timmy, voice guy. So we got Cupboard Studios, like as in like cupboard, like wardrobe or something like that. Cupboard Studios, nice. Loving your videos. I built my voiceover using tips from you and other voices. Oh, thank you. Good. It's why we do this. It's literally why we do this. Good to hear. Glad. I hope that you're doing well and you're not making the mistakes that I made. I hope. I really, really hope, because I made a lot of shit mistakes. So, what was I saying? Oh, ADR. ADR and voice matching. So, there's actually a project that I actually... I think the best way to answer this is, like, what's the difference between impressions and voice matching? So, there's actually been a couple projects that I've actually done where I actually had to voice match someone... And it wasn't like an impression. I wasn't doing an impression of them. So it was actually a short film that I was actually involved in. And this is actually a really funny story because I don't think the guys who I voice matched even know that I had to voice match them. So there was a pilot episode to a TV show that's still trying to be pitched. And it was a comedy. And I was one of the characters. One of the characters in it. And, we finished shooting, and like a couple months later, we find out that there was a problem with the audio, with a good chunk of the audio. And so there was a good bit that had to be ADR'd. And so they basically needed to like have ADR sessions with every single actor. Well, almost every single actor. And so, I was like, just, so their studio was in like Houston, like North Houston, or North Houston. And then my studio's obviously here in Austin. And so it was going to be hours of driving. And so I, told them that, like half the actors were in Austin, half the actors were in Houston. I told them, hey, I can do the Austin actors if you need. Send me the file. We can sync it up. We'll communicate via Skype or Source Connect or whatever it is you need, and then we'll just do that here. And at first they were really hesitant. He didn't really know that I did voiceover. So I sent him, videos, and clip and shots of all of my gear and the programs that I use and how long I've been doing it. And eventually they were reluctant, and we did it. But there was two people that could not make it to either of these recording sessions, and so they needed someone to ADR them. And one of them was a very talented older actor. I think he was the oldest guy on set, who did this kind of country voice, country guy. And he was kind of, what's the word? Very over the top. Very over the top. And a very thick, he wanted to do a very thick country accent. But he kind of had like this whininess. And so he wasn't able to make it. He moved to LA like immediately after our shooting. And he moved to LA, and so he was unavailable. There was another guy who moved, I think, to like Alabama or Arkansas or something like that, just further north. And so he wasn't able to make it. And he had kind of a whiny voice, a younger, whiny voice. He was younger than me. And so they weren't sure what they were going to do with this. They were like, I don't know, maybe, they were trying to find some way. I was like, hey, do you want me to, see if I can, do some kind of stand-in, I think that's what I said, while we try to figure out how to get them in. So I recorded just little sections, sent it to them, and they were so impressed. They were like, why don't we just let you do the whole thing? Why don't we just, that's basically exactly what they said, but in just better quality. And so I ended up doing ADR for 2 whole rolls plus my own roll. And that was probably the most I've ever done as far as like ADR, because that was an entire, I think it was like a 25-minute short film, and that was like 3 characters, as well as like, one of them being mine, which had like a lot of lines. And so it wasn't me doing an impression of them. Doing ADR is basically I'm listening over to their voice over and over and over and over again. And I'm trying to get it as close as possible. Not only their pitch, their rhythm, their cadence, everything. And I'm trying to match their lips as well. Doing an impression is a little bit more freestyle. You're basically doing an homage to the person. Like the way I do Christopher Walken is an homage to Christopher Walken. Yes, it's pretty good. I might be able to do voice matching as Christopher Walken, but overall, this is really just an impression. I do know some people who've done ADR for Christopher Walken, and they're amazing. They're absolutely fantastic. And it's a completely different beast. I would have to match everything as close as possible. It's one of the most strenuous things as far as being a voice actor, especially if it's a voice that you don't really do. Not only are you trying not to be yourself in any way, you can't add any original elements to it. You can't add or take away anything. It has to be exactly the way they said it, just better quality, and you have to match their lips. It's insane. It's fun, but it's not something that I would ever suggest anyone try to get into early on. Definitely way down the line. As far as, so that would be voice matching. ADR is basically doing the exact same thing, but normally those actors are coming in and recording their own lines, trying to match their lips. So it's them doing it. Voice matching would be someone else coming in and doing it for them. All right, let's get to some comments. I think there's 2. So, Lacone Iffy? Lacan Iffy? Lacan? Ify? If that, I've probably mispronounced that like in every way. Hello to you. Okay, so Pat has some more. I don't know if this is a question. I don't have a permanent name for it yet. Okay, that's fine. But I'm naming it Intruder? What? He has it right there. It's going to be right there in the chat. So, that's what he's calling it. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. And it's about someone who lost their grandpa. Oh, that's sad. And he's sharing his experience as his ghost tries to talk to him. Oh, okay. Okay, so is this an actual like film, or is this like an animation, audio drama? Is it one of those? Anyway, sounds nice. I actually like the more dramatic stuff. There's way too many people try comedies way too much, and comedies are hit and miss. But like if it's you can do a drama and you're more likely to get it right. So if it's done as a drama, good. Whenever you have anything available, I would love to see it. I would love to see how this turned out. So anyway, that's nice. What was I talking about? Oh, I think another one of the projects that I was working on that I needed to move along was that I need to get done. It was actually an audio drama. I started writing a Sherlock Holmes spoof audio drama that is incredible. It's very dark humor. That the reason I started writing it is because I was thinking of, this is the premise. If you're creative and you're trying to make things, write or plan to create stuff that you can make. What I mean by that is, so for when I started out writing and planning on shooting and creating content, I wanted to do big stuff. I wanted to shoot and produce larger projects. And I would write screenplays that were of larger projects. The first 3 screenplays I think I wrote were between 50 and 80 pages. And they were like a mini-series. So they were a 3-part mini-series. There's technically 6 parts, but I never got to the other half. I don't know. I just stopped. Also, it's terribly written. It was basically my thesis for writing, but it was incredibly long and incredibly ambitious. After that, I started writing smaller and smaller projects. A lot of the stuff that I tried to write was for animation, but I can't animate. And I'm not that good of an artist. I have started doing a DeviantArt page, which I may put in the description if I can. It's probably too late. That's probably too late. You'll probably see. I'll probably talk about it at some point in time. But I started a DeviantArt. I think it's DeviantArt page because I needed to get motivated to get more into art and get better at art. So I created that as kind of motivation. But I don't really consider myself an artist. So I kept cutting down. So I can't do these large films because I don't have the budget. And, I don't have the time, and I don't have the resources, and I don't have the manpower and all this kind of stuff to shoot these kind of stuff. So, so we get down to animation. Okay, so I can't animate and I can't draw, really all that well. So let's get animation out of the way. I can't write for other people because most people, I don't know, for some reason, want to write their own stuff. What am I saying? For some reason. People want to write their own stuff because they want to write their own stuff. I'm not judging them. So, writing for other people isn't something that I should plan for. It shouldn't be really something that I should, plan for. So what can I do? What can I create? What can I make that is within my budget, within my time, within my knowledge, resource, and power and skill? So I do audio. I do sound design. I do sound engineering. I do Foley. I do, all this kind of stuff. I can do radio dramas. I can write, and I can voice act, and I can do the sound design for radio dramas. That is something that I can do. So if I cut it down to what is achievable for me, it's the same with doing your 1, 5, and 10-year goal. If I break it down to what I can achieve, then that's what I can achieve. And so that is basically what I've come down to, like, when I come writing. There's a whole bunch of scripts that I just need to sell. It's Lacombe. Oh, Lacone. Oh, okay. Right. I see. Okay, got it. How would you go about not knowing how to promote something in the script? Oh, produce something in the script. Okay. How would you go about not knowing how to produce something in the script? Okay. I kind of answered that question without even reading it. So if you're writing a script, again, think about what it's for. Is this for animation? Is it for live action? Is it for audio drama? Think about what you're writing it for. And then think about what your potential budget could be. Don't think too much about the budget because then you're going to get overwhelmed. Don't think too much about the details before you've even started writing, but just kind of think about what you're shooting for. So those kind of scripts that I write nowadays are for as few people as possible. There is the short story that I was talking about earlier. Basically has, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 or 8 characters. Very short. Not that many characters. There's another short story that I started writing that I think has like 6 characters. And then there's a lot of stuff that I've written that has fewer characters. The reason is because the fewer characters, the fewer projects you got to juggle, the fewer people involved, the smaller the budget. So I would suggest think about what you can personally achieve. Like if you were to shoot this in a weekend, how many people could you get together? What would you be able to achieve? All that kind of stuff. Think about that. Now, if you're writing something for someone else who has more resources, then kind of communicate to them. Like there's the short film that I need to edit, which is the thing that I was talking about at the beginning. I had a friend who, does film. He has cameras. He's got all the lights. He's got all the gear, and he just wanted to shoot something. And so, he was like, "Hey, I'm looking for some really short, short films to shoot." And I was like, "Hey, okay, I can write whatever you want. What's your goal? Are you looking for a comedy? Are you looking for a drama, horror, action? What are you looking for?" And so, it was kind of like comedy or horror. I was like, okay. So I narrowed it down. So I wrote 2 very short screenplays. I think they were both like 3 pages long. And I think I did them both in like less than a week. So the first one was like in like over the night, and the next one was like the following 2 days. And I sent them to him, and he was like, he liked the horror one, so we shot the horror one. The horror one had 4 characters, just 4, and technically only one scene, one set, and it's just like a little girl's bedroom. That's it. And that was the whole thing. So I literally wrote it with that in mind. Something that he and I would be able to achieve over a weekend, and if it's only one set, if it's only one scene, it's easier to shoot. It's easier to block. It's easier to light. There was some issues with that short film as far as like we shot too much coverage. We didn't really plan out the scene, and we just kind of like freestyled it a little bit. I wanted to tackle assistant directing, even though I was unprepared to do assistant directing. And so the second day of shooting, I just did more, just general whatever on set because I was terrible at assistant directing. And then we didn't we thought we had an editor. We turned out we didn't have an editor. But everything before that point, everything before the editing point was fine. We shot what we could. We achieved what we could in the 2 days. We actually did the whole thing in 2 days. And the makeup, the actors, all the stuff was done really, really well. For a 3 or 4 page, I think it's a 3-page script in 2 days. That's what we planned. That's what our goal was. That's what it was. And I think it cost me, out of my pocket, I think it was like $2,500. Which I basically paid for the food, renting the location, and I don't remember what else. There was something else. I don't remember what it was. Because he was bringing all his gear, and all the actors were coming in for free, which I really wish I could have paid them. And all the crew was coming in for free. So he was providing basically everything else, and we brought in the cast for free. So I was basically paying for the location and the food. And then we shot it. So it really was, as far as production, it's like one of the smallest things I've ever worked on. So basically write based on what you know you can achieve or what you're confident you can achieve. So I would say write what you think you can achieve and cut it down a little bit. Cut it back a little bit. Because I could have written the screenplay larger. I could have written more in there. But I cut it down because I've been on set where there have been tons of projects where it kind of went over. We started shooting. We should have been done a long time ago. And, there was just so many extra scenes to shoot, but we're technically out of hours. We're out of days. We should have been gone a long time ago. We're going into overnights and stuff like that. So, if you plan for more, but write for less, and then, shoot for less, you're shooting for a smaller production than you actually have the time and hours at the location, you're probably going to achieve more. Also, don't shoot for if it's a film, don't shoot for period pieces. Shoot for something a little bit more contemporary. That way, costumes are not as difficult. That's it. I hope that answered the question. That was long. I hope that answered the question. Let's see. I don't know if we need to wrap up here. Okay, so good news. The live stream has gone on. Let's see. Let's check the sound. Live stream has gone on for an hour, uninterrupted, and doesn't look like I lost any of you guys. It looks like you guys haven't lost me. It looks like sound has been fine. So it looks like that problem has been fixed. So this was a successful test. Oh, I'm tired. I'm so tired. Not from doing this. Not from doing this. I'm tired because I was up till 4:30 last night. So, anyway, I think that's basically it. Don't know if there's any more questions. If there is any more questions, go ahead and type them up right now. I'll give a little bit. I'm going to look over, see if there was anything else that I wanted to tell you guys before I headed out. No. Oh, no. I'll save that for later. Yeah, that's pretty much it. All right. Thank you guys for watching. If you liked the video, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. Totally fine. Subscribe if you're new. Bell for notifications. This will be available. I'm just going to make this just go live pretty much immediately after. Just because if anyone missed it, you guys get to see it. Because I think when I actually posted that I was going to be doing a live stream, I said 2 p.m., but I didn't say what time zone, so many apologies. But we covered a lot of stuff. We answered a lot of questions. We covered a lot of topics, which I will be doing videos on each one of those. Anyway, so thank you guys for watching, and until next time, peace.